In this video, you're gonna find some tips that is allowing new player that entering the endgame to push higher keys and to achieve T15 easier. Hello everyone, Nobody here, and I'm going to share with you some tips that would have helped me if I knew them before. And those tips are meant to help you achieve a greater result when you are entering the endgame. And I'm going to start very quickly with the first tip is stop using gray Waystone. Gray Waystone is very difficult for you to drop over Waystone. What you should always do is you go into your orb and you transforming it to magic, and you see here I have more magic monster, meaning that I'm going to loot more. And the second one, you always want to use both orb, is going to increase the chance of Waystone drop chance, 90% on this one. So always you blue Waystone at minimum, because this is going to help you keep a sustained track of Waystone, and at the beginning it's very complex to have a sustained track of Waystone. Second tips is in your Atalas skill tree, you start with the quantity of Waystone that you found in your map. Then you go increase rarity of Waystone. After that, you can potentially take the lucky pH, I think it's good. Or you can go to have more rare monster in your map, which is increasing your loot. After that, you can eventually take this, but this is making your maps much more hard to complete. The third thing is follow a guide. If you manage to go through the campaign without a guide, if you want to achieve T15 without a guide and you haven't played PoE 1, this is going to be very complicated. There is a lot of very good guide and content creators that are making amazing guide. Focusing on something that has been proven that works is going to help you tremendously. Next tip is cap your resistances. Resistances are key in Path of Exile because they are reducing the damage that you take by certain monsters, and the higher you're gonna go in maps and the more damage they are going to deal. Having the capability of reducing this damage by a lot, like 75%, is mandatory to be able to perform certain maps, especially when you have the affix that are going to reduce those resistances. So capping your resistances is going to be key to be able to perform well into the endgame. Next one is consider putting into your sockets things that have more value for you than the current runes. So you can put the runes, this is very easy, and by the way, obviously put the sockets into your gear. I'm not going to put that one, but put the sockets into your gear, and instead of using the current rune, you can use the soul here. Some of them are really good and do not cost a lot. Some of them cost a lot, but some of them do not cost a lot. Like let's say this one, Soul Core of 5 to all elemental resistances for 6 exalted orb. So this is very good. If you are lacking resistances, use this one. Next tip is consider having 2 sets. At the moment I'm using a set to farm, so I have a lot of increased rarity on my items, but I have another things which is in my stats, which is stuff push key. And this is what I'm using when I do maps that I really don't want to miss, or if I'm doing like trials of ascensions and things like this. I have items that provide me less rarity found, but they are bringing up my tankiness or increasing my damage. And in case I know that I'm going to face a content that is particularly difficult and I favor more to finish it versus to loot a little bit more, I'm using the PCs on this tab. The next tip is get a loot filter. It's very easy to install and it's completely okay. I mean, there is actually something into Path of Exile. If you go here, item filter, so it's completely legal, it's not like a hack or something dodgy, and doing so is going to highlight your items much better. You're going to have a sound, and that is going to prevent you from missing out on very important items. The people that are making those loot filters, usually they are pretty knowledgeable around what has value and what do not has value. So having a loot filter like this is going to really help you having great items and not missing out. Next advice is find a way that is fun for you to make currencies, and insist in both. It needs to be fun because it's a game and having fun is important, I believe. And you need to make currencies so you can buy loot and you can increase the power of your character. I made a video on what I find fun into the game and how I make money into the game. You can have a look at it. Next topic is increase the quality of your items. And there is a lot of things to talk about. So wand here, it doesn't do anything right now into the game. That's why I didn't increase it. But wand I increase with those items. Armor, you see it's 20%. It's increased with this item. Martial weapon, I'm not using martial weapon on the mage. It's increased by this item. The helmet, I should have increased this one. It's not increasing here, but on my stuff to push key, you see it's increased to 20%. Now, more niche, you have increased the quality of ring, and this is done through breach. So this is the items that are increasing quality. You need to use 20 of them, almost 20 of them, to have 20% on one ring. Same for the second one. And on the amulet, it's the same thing. Here, I don't have anything that could be increased through quality. I would have liked to have mana. I don't have mana on this amulet, so I can't increase the quality of it. Next quality upgrade, it's on the spells. As you see, quality here is increasing by 4 the number of projectile I fire with every single spell. In here, it's increasing by 2% the extra damage I'm doing with lightning, which is massive. In here, I get 1 second of mana tempest even if I leave the zone, which is good as well. Here, you're gonna have increased curse effect. So increasing the main core spells that you are using, it's going to increase your DPS. Since we are on skills, the next tip is around skill level. You can buy for very cheap money level 19 skill spell. So make sure that you are buying your level 19 skill spell. I think it's like 1 exalted per skill. And this is the kind of things that you're only going to drop in high tier maps. So at the beginning, it can be helpful if you get the those higher tier skill. For the spirit gem, the one that is costing a lot is 18, so you can buy the 17 for relatively cheap. So I recommend that you are buying the level 17 spirit gem for this purpose. Be careful if you are buying the gem on the market that they are not corrupted, because if they are not corrupted, you cannot do the next tip, which is increasing the number of slots the gem has. So for the one who doesn't know, if you go here, you have the lesser geo orb. This costs almost nothing and move from 2 slots to 3 slots. This one that is the greater is moving from 3 slot to 4 slot, and today is around 34 exalted. And the last one that is bringing you the last 5th slot, this one is like 3 divine, so you will not have it before quite a long time. But at least moving from 3 and 4 slot is relatively easy and is going to increase your DPS. If you made it that far into the video, thank you. First of all, consider subscribing to my channel. As you see, it's a very young channel, and right now every sub counts for me. Thank you very much, and I continue with the tips. Next tip is going to be around enchanting your amulet. So here you see I have Deadly Force. Deadly Force is providing me 12% increased critical hit chance and 30% increased damage if you have dealt a critical hit in the past 8 seconds, which is massive for me because I have a lot of crit. So for those who don't know, if you go into your Atlas skill tree and you go into a major node, major node is the one that are medium size. So you have the big one and you have those ones, the medium one. And if you press Alt, so let's say this one, you see that chronomancy, I need to have despair, fear, despair. So I have in this order 2 despair and 1 fear. And those things here, they are the currency that you get from delirium. So you see I have some currency here. And by taking a currency, right click on it, you see you have this screen that is appearing. You can place an amulet and you can place the combination of 3 things. When you did so, when you have done so, you will infuse your amulet with a passive skill tree here. Even if it's not connected to your passive skill tree. So let's say I'm very interested with this one, which is Fraud Seeker, maybe, let's say, for the sake of it. Then I can't use all the points to go there because that would be a waste. What I would do instead, and this is exactly what I did with this one, I'm infusing this one into my amulets, and it provides me the bonuses even if I didn't go through all the nodes to achieve it. Next one may sound stupid, but it's actually not, and it's get better gear. And what I mean by better gear is understand better what makes your character deal more damage, tank more, and choosing between stats is very, very important. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. Is it going to be better to have 51% increased spell damage or to have 60% increased spell damage but a little bit less of critical enchant? Those kind of things, I answer them into one video, which is around theory crafting your gear. And if you're not sure how to do, you can have a watch at it. It's going to help you tremendously. Going along with getting better gear, you need to be more familiar with Path of Trade. Searching your gear effectively in Path of Trade is also a subject of a video that I did before, and is going to help you filter down through the massive amount of crap that there is in Path of Trade and the amount of scams that there is, where some people are trying to sell things that are very, very overpriced for the value that they will bring to your character. So searching in Path of Trade in a more effective way will result is spending less currencies for the better gear, and will result you having a better time into the game. Next tip is to use the swap of weapon. As you see right now, I have 2 sets of weapon. And the reason why I have 2 sets of weapon is because this is my main setup that is going to allow me to cast very quick, do a lot of damage, and so on and so forth. And then the second one is going to provide me a unique skill, which is Sigil of Power here, that is going to increase the damage that I do if I stay within the circle. And the second thing that I'm going to do with my my set is I assign certain points. So using those things here, and I made a video on this, you can have certain points that are only allocated to a set of weapon. And what I'm doing is that I'm creating Sigil of Power, I am cursing an area, so the boss, so the boss is having his resistances lower, then I'm switching back to my wand, and then I DPS it. And the reason why I am cursing with my staff and not with my wand is because I have specific nodes that are increasing the effectiveness of my curses for my staff. But because I'm not cursing with my wand, I don't need them on my wand, and I can assign those skills to other points. So this is also providing me a lot of value, switching weapon from one to another, and depending on the class you play, you may have some switch that are extremely valuable for you. And the last tip is to sub to my channel, because I'm going to do a lot of video that is going to help you having a great time into the game. And if you want to learn more about how to make this thing or unlock those things, then following me on YouTube is going to help you on the long run. Thanks for watching everyone, and see you on the next video.